Hello, I'm Ariel Garten and I'm the CEO of Interaxon. For almost a decade, our team has been involved in the research, design, and development of thought-controlled computing technologies, experiences, and applications. So you may be wondering, what is thought-controlled computing? Well, it's just like it sounds. It's the ability to control things using your mind. It works by reading your brainwaves using a simple sensor, like this, which then reads your brainwaves, translates the data through a computer, and sends it to any device. In one example, I can use my mind to control the lighting in a room, or the lighting in a room can respond to the state of my mind. At Interaxon, our mission is to unlock and actualize the potential of thought-controlled computing and create compelling applications that put humans first. We often explore sketch prototypes around everyday interactions like taking a bath or exploring a social hot tub experience. It's really playful experiences like these that allow us to frame the technology on our terms, unlocking potentially unfound potential and making it something that's really accessible and fun that everyone can engage with. Now, in case you were wondering, the headset that I'm reading here really is reading my brainwaves as we speak, and it's streaming them live. Can I get my brainwaves, please? They stole my brainwaves. Well, the headset that I've got on really is reading my brainwaves. We're going to be able to see it live right there. That blue line is my brainwave. And on the other side there, we see one interpretation of my brainwave state, whether I'm focused or relaxed. Feel free to peer inside my head at any point during the presentation and see what I'm thinking. Now, this massive graph is beautiful, it's really compelling, but you may wonder what it means. Well, it's our job to interpret this data and do something meaningful with it. To create thought-controlled computing applications requires a convergence of ideas from a variety of disciplines. Within Interaxon, we work with amazing people from artists to designers to engineers to mathematicians and neuroscientists. It's really truly an interdisciplinary field that requires many faculties, if you'll pardon the pun, to really make it happen. Until recently, thought-controlled computing was the domain of a very small number of people. Neuroscience in general, you'd find that true for. You find it in the vaunted halls of research or the sterile cubicles of a clinical trial. Thought-controlled computing hardware was previously really cumbersome and contrived. If you wanted to do something really cool with the technology, you'd have to sit there very, very still with a mass of wires coming out of your head and about 10 pounds of equipment. You wouldn't find it standing on a stage like this or giving a presentation. But today, thought-controlled computing is becoming increasingly popular and accessible. As evidence, here are people going head-to-head at Best Buy. Best Buy is your standard, typical big-box consumer electronics store in North America. They started their annual Brain Playground Day. Through public demonstration, we hope to keep building awareness and literacy, both in the language around the technology and in the language of the brain itself. Here's a concert that we performed at an Innovations Award show where musicians were using their minds as the instrument, each player controlling a part of the music with their brainwaves. We aim to help people experience thought-controlled computing in a variety of ways so you can understand what it does, how it'll work, and the positive impact it can have in your life. Most importantly, we want people to realize that they can, are, and should be a part of the conversation. In how we communicate, we're also really conscious of the need to address fears and assumptions, as well as to manage inappropriate expectations people may have about the technology. Because at this stage, it still can only do so much, but what it can do is pretty nifty. So in case you're wondering, we're not going to be bending matter just yet. I'd like to take a little bit of time to talk about the history of thought-controlled computing, where it comes from, where it is now, and of course, where we see it going. Dating back to the anatomical second-century dissections of the anatomist Galen, through the metaphysical maps in the 1600s of Robert Fludd, all the way to present-day brain-focused research, man has always been really interested between the connection between the brain, the body, the natural world, and the universe. This image can actually be read as an ancient SDK for a very old-school community of brainwave developers. Many people have been exploring the brain's electrical phenomenon, But it wasn't until Hans Berger in the 1920s recorded the first brainwave that the business really kind of took off. At Interaxon, we consider this up here to be kind of a seminal artifact. It's the first portrait of someone's brainwaves, and it's the first glimmer that leads towards a future filled with brainwave-based opportunities. We kind of liken it to Marconi's telegraph in terms of its importance in BCI. Jacques Vidal would publish his text Towards a Direct Brain-Computer Communication in the 1970s. That text kind of set the foundation for really a whole community of researchers to come and laid the groundwork for organizations like ours and our partners. Today, popular books like The Brain That Changed Itself serve as access points for the populace, for everyday people to understand how we think, what goes on in our brain, and how it relates to the world around us. Probably one of the best parts of my job is getting to work with people like James Fung or Steve Mann. Steve's innovations in the 1990s pioneered the technology that launched Interaxon, or with my business partners, Trevor Coleman and Chris Amony, who co-founded the company. In 2008, the field of BCI really took a major leap forward with the introduction of commercially available headsets by two companies. Last year, our friends at NeuroSky released the simplest consumer system out there. It's a single reading sensor, and it took what used to be $20,000 and brought it down to the $200 price point. Around the same time, our friends at Emotive released their novel thought-controlled hardware, a flexible platform of 14 sensors with dynamic algorithms that really opened up a new platform for development in the space. Today, investment in commercial BCI is reaching the hundreds of millions of dollars mark and rising. It's steadily increasing the diversity and the velocity of infrastructure available to create thought-controlled technologies and experiences. At Interaxon, we work with our partners who create the low-cost hardware so that we can focus on researching novel interactions and creating applications like these. A relaxation trainer where you can clear the skies and clear your mind, or something to help with your golf swing, or something to help you visualize your brainwaves and understand what they feel like, or let you play that game from The Game in Star Trek. We also like to interact with real-world things, not just stuff on the screen. During the Winter Olympics this year, visitors are allowed to control some really big things with their mind. The lighting on the Niagara Falls, the Canadian Parliament buildings, and the CN Tower. Yep, visitors to the Vancouver 2010 Winter Olympics could control the lighting on the CN Tower, the Parliament buildings, and Niagara Falls in real time from 3,000 kilometers across the country using only their minds. Over 17 days, 7,000 users got to individually interact with their brainwaves with these landmarks in this really intimate way. The fact that our client, the Government of Ontario, engaged us for this as their Olympics highlight, and these landmarks gave us the access required to accomplish this really was an honor. It also demonstrates the scope of the applications of this technology and what you can do when you put your mind to it. In consumer applications this year, the Star Wars Force Trainer toy, which, like the Mattel MindFlex, is introducing thought-controlled experiences to gaming and entertainment. Young Jedis the world over can use the Force, otherwise known as their beta brainwaves, to levitate a ball. This is bringing popular myths and aspirations closer to reality. On a more practical note, the Zeo Sleep Trainer, which tracks your brainwaves during sleep and can wake you up during your optimal point of refreshment, points towards ways in which thought-controlled computing is going to be a part of our future lifestyle and well-being. This future lifestyle is currently available on stores in Brookstone stores in the US, to be exact. Every day, we find an opportunity to do more with the technology than we set out to do and to reach more people, like helping improve the lives of people with epilepsy. We're partnering with doctors at Toronto Western Hospital and the University of Toronto to create a long-term wear epilepsy detection system that an epileptic can wear, hopefully discreetly and comfortably, to monitor their brainwaves and inform them before they're going to have a seizure, because you can actually detect seizure in the pre-ictal state. We're also creating responsive smart games to work with kids who have ADD to help them learn how to focus. In ADD, kids have a low proportion of beta waves and a high proportion of theta waves. It's not that we think that ADD is something that needs to be fixed at all, I want to be really clear about that, but technologies like these allow you to add more choice and use them when you want to. And this trend is really big. The neurostimulation, or drug-free alternative market, is projected to grow from $1.3 billion in 2009 to $2.7 billion in 2015. By contrast, the epilepsy drug market is going to remain flat in the same time. Perhaps the most important role thought-controlled computing has is in closing the gap, improving universal accessibility, and empowering individuals to engage and interact with their world. It's really blurring the lines between abled and disabled bodies. The man pictured here is controlling his wheelchair entirely with his brainwaves. This sort of control over devices suggests that it will naturally, with our help, extend to other objects like doors, windows, taps, and appliances. The more we all use this technology, the better it becomes for everybody. However, within the thought-controlled computing context, and probably the context that all of us here exist in, technology usually dominates the discussion. And we often lose the human-centered or the natural dimensions of these stories, which is a shame, because this is a technology about the self. Anyone who's used this technology knows that it's a really personal and transformative experience, eliciting emotional firsts. Thought-controlled computing is really about you and how you interact with the world around you, developing relationships and pursuing new forms of mastery. This new media experience is and can be an extension of the self. Today, there's clearly a growing interest in and awareness in one's mental potential. Brain games and trainers are in the midst of a massive renaissance, and the brain fitness market is expected to grow from $263 million in 2008 to an astounding $5 billion in 2015. I'd like to show everybody a sneak peek at what we've been creating within the Apple ecosystem. It's going to be making its debut at CES. We teamed up with Secret Exit, the makers of the stunning Zenbound 2, to show what enabling brainwave capabilities can do for the game. It's leading the way in bringing brainwaves to the iPhone and the iPad platform. The object of the game is simple and elegant: to wrap a rope around a wooden object using as little string as possible. Wherever the rope touches, the object is painted, and when you're done, you tie it off. Now, instead of rotating or scrolling the object using your fingers, here you do it with your mind. As you focus on the wooden form, it rotates. The more you focus and fall into the game, the faster it rotates. It's really, truly a very Zen experience. After the game play, we provide you with feedback about how you did. Not just how much rope you used, but how your brain was doing, how much mental power you used, how you did compared to last time, what you can do to improve your inner game. This kind of information is much more than game feedback. It's a personal internal data center that can generalize across activities at work or school or sports or play. This is knowledge about you. And this is nice, because a great deal of technological exploration until now has been outwardly focused. Thought-controlled computing, because it is your brain, establishes an opportunity for inwardly focused exploration that reorients the popular imagination to examine questions like, what does my brain look like when I'm laughing, or when I'm smiling, or before, during, and after my golf swing? The more we envision future scenarios, the more we think about the convergence between mobile handsets, body net sensors, physiological feedback, and thought-controlled computing to offer more full-spectrum body-brain experiences and highly tailored services. Thought-controlled computing also offers a new way for us to improve existing tasks and behaviors, like improving job safety. Similar to other paradigm-shifting technologies like computation or IBM's first room-sized computer, thought-controlled computing and other neurotechnologies have the potential to transform a number of industries and everyday applications. As thought-controlled computing presents us with new horizons, there is a need and an opportunity for every industry to become involved in the process of learning and discovery and creation in order to actualize its potential. We're excited today to have shared with you that we're bringing brainwave data to the iPhone platform in a new way, and we hope with your help to bring it to other platforms as well. In the mobile space, we see ourselves as more than just a novel game controller. Rather, once you have a powerful data processing center in your pocket, you can connect to everything your phone does, and we know just how connected your phone is. We're really excited about exploring a new scale of shared and collective use in the mobile space. And as we enter a new era of search on the web, we'd like to explore how thought-controlled computing can couple with other sensors like eye tracking systems to help us better understand the interplay between concentration, relaxation, and saliency as you search the web. We think the neurobiology of search is a very interesting frontier. And as payment transactions become increasingly digital, we're considering some new ways to play a larger role in helping people become better informed before and during their transaction experience, and then have new ways of reflecting upon that experience afterwards. We think the perspective thought-controlled computing brings to the study of value, decision-making, and transaction will change commerce in the future. There are these opportunities and more. We look forward to continuing this conversation in new ways and working with people like you. Whether it's controlling the stuff with your mind, creating new interactions in the world, improving healthcare, or delving deeper into yourself. This is an experience that will change the way you think, because thoughts matter. Thank you.
How cool is this? Could you join me here, Ariel? And we're still projecting your brain. Can you come here? I was just interested in a small experiment. So can you just detail a little bit here? So what's happening here?
So what's happening here is...
We'll get you a mic.
Bonjour. Oui.
Bonjour. Tu
Qu'est-ce
parles
que
français?
Un petit peu, oui.
Ah bah oui.
So as I tried to speak French, you noticed my focus went up. Est-ce que je attends de prendre en français? My French is terrible, clearly.
So that means you're less relaxed?
I'm actually very relaxed now, but
So
as I'm staring at it, est-ce que j'attends de prendre de...
Keep going. That's great. Continue, parle français. S'il te plaît, Ariel, est-ce que tu pourrais parler en français?
Bonjour. Pourquoi j'attends de me parler en français?
Ça marche bien, hein?
No, I'm speaking terribly, but the point of the experiment was that as I try to speak in French, which I obviously don't
And now
do,
you're relaxed.
it
Wow.
increased my focus. And as I switch back to English, I become relaxed. So that's just one small example of how you can take data from the head and do something slightly meaningful with it.
And keep going.
Yeah,
Sorry.
allow interpretations of the data that can take you to new places.
And is that like so?
Yeah.
That works pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
We have not practiced this at all. I swear. Can you
No
affirm?
practice. Yes, I can confirm.
So, I'll stop here. I promise, Ariel. So, and in the middle is just design, right? It's just.
Yeah, in the middle is one interpretation of, it's just one random visual interpretation of my brainwaves. As the dots grow further apart, I'm in an alpha state, and as the dots come closer to the center, I'm in a focused or a beta state.
We'll take one question. So if you have one, I think we have some people to help you here. If not, I'll give you a mic myself. There is one here. Do we have someone for, yeah, here we go. Do we have a microphone? Yeah.
Hi.
Can you speak in French so that we see Ariel focused again?
Really?
Yeah?
Yeah.
No, that's when Ariel speaks French, actually. So.
Okay. The brain of every people is wired differently. So how do you need to train do you need to train the algorithm, or just can it work on anybody if you switch? Just if you take it off and you give to Loic, will it be the same stats?
So one of the hardest things to do is to find brainwave-based experiences and brainwave reactions that can generalize across individuals. Yes, we're all wired very differently. One of our tasks is to pull out experiences that are the same from person to person. So this simple alpha-beta response is quite identical from one person to the next. They may have a little bit of variation in the amount of alpha or beta, but in a few minutes you can learn to control your alpha waves or your beta waves, or you can see someone's response and relaxation and focus continuum quite readily. There are other more complex experiences that require some amount of training. There are other incredibly complex experiences, like trying to imagine moving your right hand or your left hand in your brain so you activate areas 3C and C4 in your sensory motor region, that take about 10 hours of training to do. So there's a whole range of experiences, and it's a whole range of sort of technological possibilities, and then we apply the most effective technology to the job.
We'll take one more question. So while the mic is coming here, can you just explain those left, right, on the left, what's happening there on the right? I mean, can you describe all the curves?
Oh, sure. The big blue line is my brainwave. You also see some muscle noise in it, so I'm gonna...
Wait. So when it does a wave, when there's, what's happening
so
in
the
your
big
brain?
blue line there is my brainwave. I'm gonna blink, and you're gonna see it.
Oh, wow.
So you can also see some muscle experience, particularly around my forehead. We can have algorithms that subtract that muscle experience or those eye blinks, so that when we use our interpretation, we can just have pure brain experience. The other levels, the other stats along the side are the decomposition of my waves into theta, beta, delta, and alpha. And along the top, you can see the history of my beta and my alpha experience.
Okay. So what does it teach me, the beta and alpha experience? What can I do with this data?
So in an alpha experience, you're relaxed or you're in a creative state. In a beta experience, you're in a focused state. I'm pretty relaxed when I'm on stage,
very relaxed.
I've clearly done this before.
Yeah.
When anyone in the audience asks me a question, I become very focused because I'm trying to pay attention to what the hell you're saying so I can give you a good answer. And then you can use simple systems like these to do things like have the lights respond to my state. So when I'm chilled out and relaxed and just want to kind of drift off to sleep, the lights get dimmer. And when I'm focused and paying attention to what I'm reading, for example, the lights get brighter. So you can have a system that understands you and the state that you are in one example.
Yeah, it's normal that if you don't... Now you can ask your question. Please just talk.
Okay, it's working. Camilo from Belgium. So do I do it in French or in English?
En anglais, s'il vous plaît.
En anglais, no issue. So on Monday, I had the luck to be at the TEDx in Brussels. And
Your English isn't very... See?
Yeah. Thank you. Maybe as good as yours.
I have the same, so I'm not complaining.
I will be slow. So I had the opportunity to meet Tanli from Emotive on Monday at the TEDx Brussels. And she focused, of course, on what we have seen on your slide. You are more focusing at Interaxon on the real-time streaming of the brain waves. So my question is the following. Do you see partnership, do you see a future where both of your companies can glue together and again amaze us even 10 times more than today?
Oh, so the companies in the space currently are not, competitors. They're essentially collaborators. NeuroSky does a simple 1-sensor system. Emotive does a 14-sensor system. They both serve very different needs. And then we work with both companies to create applications because they're just the hardware layer. So it's all a very collaborative space.
Great. Ariel, tell me, is it so if you put this on my head like right now, it's going to work, or do I need to do... I'm just wondering, I don't want to do it.
It's going to work.
Okay, so could you next year come back and we all have one? Is that expensive first, or is it?
No.
What's the cost?
Well, this one was made particularly for me, so you'd have to ask my designer how much it costs.
No,
but in general, systems like this are around the $150, $200 range.
Oh, okay, so we can connect it. Wow, that's great. Next year we should have all of you with one, and
it would be my pleasure.
You want to come back?
Sure.
Great. Well, we'll work on that. We would love that, Ariel. And see then, if anyone, for example, falls asleep, I can just zoom in and read your brain and see what we can do with it. Can we upload stuff?
Please.
No, but can we upload to the brains of the audience? Can we upload anything? Download,
upload?
upload?
Can
Like send an upgrade, for example.
we can
Like
send praise to anyone, yes.
Yes?
We can. Who are
Do
we
you think-
applauding?
I'll let you go, Ariel. But just before I do so, last thing. Do you think, I bet you've read Ray Kurzweil's book when he speaks about, do you think this 20 years, within 20 years, we'll be able to download our brain and like have it run without our body, something that is actually,
Certainly not within 20 years.
but you think it will happen?
Will we be able to fully download our brain and have it run separately from us? No.
Okay.
Not in its entirety. We'd have a reasonably good proximity, reasonably good facsimile someday. We can always come reasonably close to the same thing the body can do, but I don't think we can ever recreate the complexity of the human body or the human brain and all of its interactions and outcomes.
Ariel, this is awesome. Thank you for being one of the highlights of the
Mon
web.
plaisir.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci.
Thank you so much, Ariel. Thank you.